喺2014年10月12日嘅2012榮耀盼望主日信息中，日華牧師介紹2種可以喺家居或者野外地方用簡單嘅材料甚至垃圾，例如膠樽同埋鋁罐，將身處地方嘅污水或者海水變為可飲用嘅蒸餾水。例如喺影片中，我哋可以睇到，只要用一個1公升嘅空蒸餾水樽同埋一個深色，例如黑色嘅空鋁罐，就可以製作蒸餾水。步驟如下：首先，將膠樽嘅底部切開，再將大約2寸嘅位置向內屈，如影片中所示，但係謹記保留樽蓋。第二，將鋁罐嘅頂部切開。第三，將未經處理嘅污水倒入鋁罐之內。影片中係以加入黑色墨水嘅污水嚟作試驗。第四，將膠樽套入鋁罐之中就完成啦。只要將佢哋放喺日光之下，鋁罐中嘅污水就會因陽光嘅熱力而蒸發並凝結喺膠樽嘅內部。當中最有效率嘅方法就係喺鋁罐注入唔超過1/3滿嘅水，直到罐內嘅水差唔多完全被蒸發，先至再次加水。但係每次加水都以唔超過1/3滿為最佳。經過1-2個小時，就可以收集膠樽內嘅蒸餾水作飲用。另外，喺有充足嘅工具同埋材料嘅前提下，亦都可以用以下影片中所教大家嘅一種更有效同埋專業嘅蒸餾水製作方法。材料如下：木板、黑色植楊樹脂 silicone、一塊約2尺乘4尺嘅玻璃、膠水喉同埋水桶。簡單嚟講，就係用木板製造一個玻璃頂木箱。玻璃頂係傾斜向一邊嘅，而木箱嘅內部則塗上一層黑色嘅植楊樹脂，並喺木箱玻璃嘅底部安裝一條可以收集水嘅水喉。咁樣就可以將整個木箱放喺陽光底下，將未經處理嘅水，例如溪水、河水甚至海水倒入木箱之內，陽光嘅熱力就會將污水蒸發並凝結喺玻璃頂內。由於玻璃係傾斜嘅，水就會流到一邊，而水喉就可以收集蒸餾水流到下邊嘅水桶之內。如果能夠將木箱盡量做到密封唔漏氣，效果將會更好。等我哋嚟睇下以下影片嘅示範。
Today, we're going to have a look at a homemade solar still. This one is a scaled-down version of what someone would put together to supply potable water to a household, but it still works on the same principles. A solar still has a lot in common with the Earth's hydrological cycle. Just like with the Earth's hydrological cycle, heat from the sun converts surface water into water vapor, which rises into the sky and eventually condenses back into water droplets when it's cooled. In the case of the solar still, water vapor rises and comes in contact with the cooler glass cover of the still, which condenses the vapor back into water droplets on the glass. The glass acts as our wind, which then transports the water droplets to a new location where it eventually falls back to Earth. Earth, in our case, is a collection container. Okay, so that's how a solar still works. Understand? Now I'll show you a few details about how I built mine. A solar still of this design starts by finding a discarded piece of plate glass, maybe from a building renovation resale shop like Habitat for Humanity. Most full-size solar stills use a piece of glass from a discarded sliding glass patio door. I'm just building a hobby version, so I'm looking for a much smaller piece of glass. A 2-foot by 4-foot sheet of glass can process about 1 gallon of water a day. A sheet of glass about the size of a door can process about 3 gallons of water a day. This sheet of glass turned out to be 3.3 square feet of glass. Depending on the efficiency of my still, I should be able to process somewhere under a half a gallon of water a day with this size still. We're going to need some more things to create the parts of our still. We're going to need some PVC pipe to catch the water droplets as they roll off the glass. I made my catchment tube from thin wall PVC pipe. Both ends of our catchment tube have fittings. One end gets an end cap and the other end gets an elbow. One end of the elbow has a pipe thread in it so that you can screw a nipple into it. We're going to attach a piece of plastic tubing to the nipple to drain the water into a catchment container. We also need some lumber to build the basin that holds the raw water for our still. The basin has to be designed to fit the piece of glass that you have to work with. Because our piece of glass is a tempered glass, if you try to cut it, it'll break in all kinds of weird ways and you'll have to throw it away and start over. So, design and build your still's basin to fit your piece of glass. To create a bottom for my basin, I actually used a piece of exterior grade plywood that fit down inside of a recess that I cut into the bottom edge of each sideboard. After the bottom was glued and tacked into place, I flipped the whole thing over and then ran a bead of waterproof wood glue into all the corners. I used waterproof wood glue on every joint during the assembly of this box. The water droplet collection tube runs the entire length of the front edge of the box. I'm just going to use a Dremel here and sort of open up these holes so that tube will fit in here better. The water droplet collection tube needs to be opened up so that the piece of glass can slide down inside of it. So I'm going to slide the piece of glass in there now and use it as a straight edge to know where to make my cut. Just in case the black silicone rubber coating that we're going to use to seal this box gets a leak, let's seal the wood with a good primer. To open up my PVC pipe to make room for the glass and the water droplets, I used a Dremel tool with a cutoff disc. If you're a do-it-yourselfer, a rotary tool or a Dremel is one of the handiest things you could possibly own. With the tube opened up, you can see here that there's enough space for the glass and the water droplets to slide down the glass and into the tube. As recommended by others who've done this in the past, I'm going to use 100% silicone caulk to coat the inside of our basin. The caulk needs to be a black color because you want it to absorb the rays of the sun and heat up the water. The heat will turn the water into vapor, and of course that's what makes our solar still work. The layer of silicone doesn't have to be real thick, but it does have to be complete because you're trying to waterproof the inside of this box. You need to work quickly because the silicone, once it sets up, is very difficult to trowel. I saved the joint corners for last and I applied my silicone with a finger. This worked real well. The silicone starts to set up in about 10 minutes, but it'll take a full 24 hours to cure. We're getting close to launch here, folks. Just need to finish assembling the water droplet catch tube, install it, and then seal up the leaks around the glass with some tape. Whoops! I almost forgot to install the fill tube. The solar still needs a way to get the water into the still without taking the glass off. I made mine from a piece of CPVC pipe that I bent with some heat and an elbow. After installing the glass and then sealing it with tape, I filled the still up with water and let it run for a couple hours. Florida sunshine and an air temperature of 90 degrees got that still working real fast.
但以上嘅方法有一個缺點，就係用上木霜，加上接觸水嘅木霜內層塗上咗黑色嘅夕陽樹脂。雖然黑色夕陽樹脂本身冇毒， 但係長期喺陽光下暴曬，卻係會釋放有毒物質。所以如果能夠用全玻璃做嘅箱，再喺玻璃箱嘅底部同埋四周外圍塗上黑色嘅油，就會較為安全。因為水唔會接觸到黑色嘅油，只係接觸到玻璃，就唔會因為長期暴曬而令水接觸到有毒物質啦。如果喺玻璃嘅外邊貼上一層一邊油上黑色，一邊油上白色嘅鋁片，黑色向內，白色向外，咁樣無論日同夜都能夠製造蒸餾水，並且大大提高造水嘅功率。因為喺夜間向外嘅白色部分會繼續吸熱，令水喺夜間都會被蒸發到玻璃面之上，而鋁片可以加速熱能嘅轉換，使效率再一步提高。